These videos are going viral all over the internet right now, and I know I'm seeing them inside of all of my feeds, and I know you are too. And these ads used to cost companies hundreds of thousands of dollars to go ahead and produce with big unnecessary teams as well. And I'm just going to show you exactly how you can do this with one click of a button and a 2-word prompt. And by the end of this video, you're going to be able to go ahead and either install this into your own business so you can have different video assets and resources for your own business, or you can go ahead and sell this automation to businesses for thousands and thousands of dollars. Or the last thing, if you just want to go ahead and create content and be able to monetize off of your content. But in today's video, I'm going to show you, because I'm going to give you away all of this entirely for free. And the tool that we're going to be using is called n8n, which is one of the best tools on the internet as of right now. So I'm going to give you away this entire prompt. I'm going to give you away this entire JSON file. And what the JSON file does is it allows you to just import everything into your n8n account. So you don't have to do anything other than just take the prompts that I have already created for you, which is going to be inside of a Notion doc. So everything's going to be for free inside of my Skool community. All you would do is just either download the n8n file so you can upload all the nodes into your account, and you can just go ahead and click this link, which is going to have all of the links that we're going to be using with all the different nodes, the system prompts inside of there, and the exact walkthrough of everything it is that I'm putting inside of there. On top of that, I'm going to show you how to access VEO3 for pennies on the dollar, so you don't have to pay any subscriptions. I'm going to give you away this entire Google Sheet so you can just make a copy and it's already set up for you. Because by the end of this video, you should be able to start creating all of these videos and then publishing them to your brand or your social medias, and it shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes to go ahead and get set up. So diving into my n8n high level, this is exactly what it is. It's going to be a start trigger. Right in here is where you're going to be able to give the idea of what it is that you want the output to be. This is going to be the prompt builder in specific. So basically inside of this prompt builder, it's just going to take your idea. It's going to follow a structured format of a prompt that I've already given you as the prompt inside of Notion. And then we connected it to a chat model. So it's basically talking to OpenAI or ChatGPT. It's going to think about the request, so therefore it can make a better output for you. And then I have a structured output parser so we can clean all the data, and then we could send it over to our VEO3, which is only just going to cost pennies on the dollar using key.ai. And then after it goes ahead and has that API call, so basically calls that software, it's going to wait for that file to be done, which takes roughly 2 to 3 minutes. And then it's going to grab that file again and then save it into the Google Doc so it looks just like this. And the good thing is you can go ahead and create a ton of different ideas, either for yourself, your business, and all you have to do is just change the title. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly how you can go ahead and build this. And I'm going to do a live walkthrough of the building for you. So I'm going to create a new workflow showing you exactly how to build this. But first, let me show you how to import it if you want to import it. You would just download the file right here. You would come over to workflow. You'll click these dots, import from file, and then it's going to be the top one right here. You're going to go ahead and hit that. And then there you go. You have the entire build in a matter of seconds. But if we were to go ahead and build this together, the first step I always do is trigger manually. I don't always do this, but I do like to do it just because it's pretty simple for this case scenario. Okay, and the first node it is that we're going to create is going to be the set node. And basically all this does is it makes it super easy for us to go ahead and say, hey, n8n, this is the information that I want you to go ahead and start these workflows or automations with, but I want it structured in this exact format. Because you can connect it to a ton of different things, HTTP calls, chats, etc. But it won't come out as a structured output the way it would using this. So if you come into here, the first thing I'm going to do is grab this blue node name. So I'm going to change the node name. And it's very important to change the node names, because if you don't, the automations using my prompts won't work anymore. And the reason being is because it ties to the node name when you use the expressions in later nodes. And if we get into it, I will show you exactly why. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take the actual prompts right here. So the naming convention. So first thing I have is title. And then this is where you're going to be able to insert your own title. So this is where you can put in Louis Vuitton ad, Porsche ad, IKEA ad, SpaceX, etc. And all you're going to have to do is just change this prompt right here rather than building these huge prompts for every single automation it is that you do. The next thing I'm going to do though is put in our actual prompt, because this is what we're going to have to pass over to the AI agent and basically say, hey, AI agent, we want to make something based similar to this prompt, and we know that this prompt is good. So take this prompt and then put in our idea and put your own spin on it. So now that we have the idea node, the next thing we have to do is talk to our AI agent and really just allow us to talk to AI so we can go ahead and create this exact prompt that we need. So the next thing I'm going to do is go down. I'm going to take the blue. I'm going to take prompt builder right here. And then after prompt builder, I'm going to use define below. Basically, all this is doing is saying, hey, instead of using our chat trigger node, because we don't have a chat trigger node, a chat trigger node would look like this. So it would be this icon right here. And basically what that means is you would be able to type down here, and then it would send that information over to the prompt builder. But since we're doing an execute workflow, when we go in and execute it, we can't do that. So we'll change it over to define below. Also down here, a good way to think of what this prompt user message is it's a way for you, think about it when you talk to ChatGPT or a different LLM, it's basically the input that you put in or when you're talking to it. The system message, this is going to be the rules and the instructions that the LLM or OpenAI has to follow. So as you can see right here, I did prompt user message. All you have to do is you will copy it in the prompt user message right here. And as you can see, the expressions, it's starting to come. But if we were to call a node that's 2 steps back, that's when you would have to put in the naming convention of the node. The only reason it's just JSON.title is because the information that is going to be passed over is going to be in JSON. So the next thing is going to be the system message. I'm going to come down here. I can just hit copy. It's a lot easier. And I got this framework from Robo Nuggets. He actually did a really good job with the prompting, as well as at the bottom of this, I did put in some of the actual prompts that he had on some of his free resources. If you know him, check him out. And huge thanks to him. But inside of here, so this is where I'll go ahead and paste the system message. Again, this system prompt, all it's basically doing is giving the LLM, ChatGPT, Claude, Google Gemini, the instructions of what it has to follow to go ahead and be able to make this output. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is save that. Now I have to add in a chat model. And as you can see, there's a ton of different chat models that you're probably super familiar with. I normally always use Claude. I think it's the best for copywriting, in my opinion. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a chat model. So therefore, this agent can talk to an actual LLM. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a think node. The reason I put in a think node is because the think tool just allows you to think about what the process what process needs to be done. And it makes it 1,000 times better for your output. I typically always just leave the description the same. I think it works perfectly fine. And then if I jump back here, we also have to do the structured output. So the way to get that is you'll do required specific output. You'll click out, you'll do output parser and structured output parser. Now what this does is it allows you to format the data, so therefore it comes out in a super clean way. And we'll go ahead, we'll get this down here. And as you can see, we use JSON example. So basically this is just giving an example of what our output would be by looking at title, final prompt, etc. So now if I go ahead and I run this workflow, we can see where we're at as of right now. Is we just ran this, and as you can see, it came out in nice JSON format where we have 2 different, I don't even know what these are called because I'm not a coder, but it's on 2 different lines. So we have the title and we have the prompt, which is really good. Now the next thing that we're going to do is you're going to see that these are lit up green. And we hit expression. And the reason it has to hit up green is because you can see the variables will come over inside of here automatically. So I'm going to go ahead and execute this step. And as you're going to see, it's going to use the Claude chat model. It's going to think about it. And as you can see, it is calling, it went from the idea node and now it's calling the actual AI agent right here. So therefore, it's talking to our chat model inside of Claude. And if you want to go ahead and set this up, well, actually, the way to go ahead and set this up is a credential. So you will just go into here, you'll put in your API key, and then you'll use this base URL. The way you get your API key is you'll go over to Anthropic, and you can just type in Anthropic API key, and then there's so much documentation, and it'll help you be able to set it up really quick. So if we check the logs, it went through our prompt builder. It talked to the chat model using the system message, which is basically the rules and the instructions. It thought about what we wanted, and then it went back to the chat model again and basically said, hey, this is exactly what they want. Make sure we do this, that, the other, following our output. And then it gave us a structured output for us. So as we can see, the actual output is we have the title and then we have the final prompt inside of here. So the next thing we have to do is now it's time to go ahead and actually create the video tapping into VEO3. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up this HTTP request call, and then I'm going to come down here because I have everything on my handy dandy Notion document because I made it nice and easy for you. And then I'm going to change the naming convention to VEO3. It's going to be a post. Now the reason it's going to be a post is because we're posting over to this software. So we're posting the information and we're giving it from our n8n over here to Key AI. And as you can see, this is some of my old logs as well. And I know Key AI, they should give you a few free credits inside of here. But just to show you a little bit, this is going to be the cheaper model. As you can see, it's 80 credits to use. And the VEO3 quality is going to be 400 credits. In my opinion, really just using the VEO3 fast model is perfectly fine. You're going to have amazing quality and outputs anyway. It does get a little bit more expensive when you use the vertical output just like this, but that's totally fine as well. It's really just depends on what you want. It's not like you're breaking the bank. I do have 186 credits left just because I play around with it. The next thing you're going to do is, so that's why we have a post. This is going to be the URL that you're going to use, and you're going to use this whenever you're calling the API from Key AI. And the way they can find the documentation is you'll just go to Key AI, you have to create an account. But again, if you have to create the account, it'll be at the top of this. You can just click this link right here. I'm not an affiliate, I'm not anything. Also for the Google Sheets, you can just click this and it'll prompt you to go ahead and make a copy of the exact sheet I need. You will need that coming up. Inside of here, this is the documentation. And all this documentation does for any API key it is that you have, I used to get stuck on this, but this is the way to do it, is after you see this enough, you'll be able to know exactly how to do it. But right here, as you can see, it's a post call. It's telling you that, and it's giving you the exact URL. But the easiest way to go ahead and do this is these curl options right here. You can just copy this. It has all the information it is that you need. And then what you can do is you can go back to your workflow. You could create, and I'll just give you an example because all you have to do is copy and paste it, and it makes your life 1,000 times easier. So notice I just created a new HTTP. So I'm going to import the curl, and then I can just paste this code right here. And what it's going to do is it's set up everything. It has the post, it has the URL, it's giving me the authorization and the bearer. So the bearer right here is where your API key is going to go. And the way you get your API key is you'll just jump into here, you'll go to API keys, and then you'll create a new API key. So you can just put it in right here. And in the bearer, you'll leave a space and then you'll put that key right there. It's very important because this is very case sensitive. And if you mess this up, you're going to mess up the entire workflow. But then down here, so all this is just the different attributes or the different functions that you're telling this API key to take into consideration. So the easiest way for you to be able to see and understand that is if I go over to VEO3, as you can see, there's a bunch of different buttons and stuff that I can press right here. I can start with an image. I can do different qualities. And all this is really doing is basically saying, hey, I want you to use these, click these buttons over there. Like for watermark, and you don't need all of these. The way that you would know which ones you do need is it's going to say required on most documentation. And right here is body, so it's going to say required. And really, that's all you need. If you don't do it, it'll tell you what the default value is. But it's very important. If it's required, it won't work. So, lucky for you guys, though, I already did all this for you. So this is, as you can see, mine is only prompt, model, and aspect ratio. And the reason I'm really doing this is just because it's the cheapest way to go in and do it, and it's the output that I want. All right, guys, so I'm going to take this JSON. I'm going to put it right in here. And as you can see, it is actually not working inside of here. Now, the easiest way to go ahead and fix this and the things that I've used is I would just go over to an LLM just like this. And what I'm going to do is say, hey, make this valid JSON. And then what it's going to do is it's going to make this valid JSON so I can go ahead and put it in there. This is a really good way if you ever have any troubles that you're running into, because as you can see, now it works perfectly fine. Again, I forgot we're not even using that one. So I'm going to go back to the VEO3 one. I'm going to hit send body. I'm going to change this to using JSON. And this is where I'm going to post that code. And as you can see, the expression is on and it's pulling the variable from over here. Now, authentication, the reason I'm not sending headers with the authorization and then the bare API key, which is what you would have to do from what I just showed you, I'm using authorization and the header auth right here because I already have it completely saved inside of here. Now, if you want to go ahead and save it, all you have to do is the authorization right here and then bare and then your API key, and you can just save it. It's just a faster way, and you don't have to show everyone your API key. So you don't have to consistently set up the headers to use your API key. So it just makes your life a billion times easier. Highly recommend it. So the next thing I'm going to do is now it is going to run this workflow. And as you see, it did not work. So what I am going to do is JSON parameter needs to be valid JSON, which I believe it looks like it is. But again, I'm not a coder. So what I'm going to do, and this is really good for debugging, I'm going to take a picture of my screen. I'm going to go back to OpenAI. I'm going to paste that photo in, and then I'm going to paste a prompt and say, fix this. And that's really all you have to do. And it's going to be able to fix this. And you can even go ahead and just build full apps from things just like this, which is awesome. Now, what I did notice of what they did is it changed it to stringify. From my understanding, it's just going to go ahead and change what is inside of the expression to make sure it's valid JSON. Basically meaning, as you can see, this expression, this might confuse the JSON, and using stringify, it will make it easier to read. So if we go ahead and execute this step, it should work. And as you can see, it does work. Now, the issues are I don't have credits inside of the account, and it'll tell you that. So make sure you always read that. So let me go ahead and buy some credits really quick. Okay, so I just went ahead and bought some credits just so I can go ahead and carry this video out for all you guys because I didn't want to leave you hanging, especially this far through. So I went ahead, as you can see, credits are insufficient. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is run this node one more time. And as you can see, it's executing. Code 200 is success, and this is my task ID. So all that's really doing is basically saying, hey, we did get your task. Right here are the logs. We'll go over to VEO3 so we can look at it, and the status is running right now. The credits it costs is 80 credits. Here's the task ID, and then the result will log right here, but we don't want to come into the software and be super time inefficient. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in a wait node. Now, inside of this wait node, I'm just going to put it for 1 second because I don't want to wait for the sake of this video, but you would put it in for minutes, and I'd probably put 3 minutes and just let it wait for 3 minutes until everything is done. And the reason that we have to wait is because we have to wait for it to be done right here, because if we don't wait, it's not going to be ready, and it's just going to log a bunch of unnecessary things inside of this sheet. So right here, I'm going to hit the wait. Now I'm going to hit go, so it can just go ahead and wait 1 second. And then the last thing we need is now we need to use a get HTTP call. And the reason we have to do that is because we posted the results over to the software. Now the software and VEO3 is creating the video. Now it's creating the video on their software. Now we have to say, hey, hey VEO3, we want the final result. Can you please send us that? So that's basically all we're doing. It's going to be a get node. And then if we go back into the Notion doc that I created for you, you can just copy the URL right here. Again, you will have to put in your authentication. I'll show you really quick what happens when you don't do that. But it's going to actually be, it's also going to be a send query parameter, so we can go ahead and get this back. Now, inside of here, it's going to be name, task ID, and then value. So, and this is super important, is that it has to be, it's very case sensitive. If the letters are off or anything is off, it's not going to work. And then the value is going to be this expression right here. So it's just going to pull, as you can see, it's pulling the data from this right here, task ID. So again, I don't have the authentication, and it's not even done running anyway, it is. All right, so even better. So as you can see, the status is success, but if I go ahead and execute this step, it's not gonna run. So it said that it ran successfully, but it didn't, because it just says you do not have access permissions. And the reason being is because you didn't put in your API key. Now, again, either you can go ahead and do it the way I do, or what you could do is send headers. You could put in authorization right here, and then you would put in bear whatever, and then your API key, which would be down here, if you did want to go ahead and do that. But I'm going to delete that because I have it saved. Lucky for you guys. So generic, I'll do header auth, and then right here is my key. Now inside of here, I'm going to go ahead and change this to get video for the naming conventions, just to make it super easy. And then I'm going to go ahead and run this again. And the reason I'm running this again is because I want all of the actual information. As you can see right here, works like magic, doesn't it? Right here is that results URL of the file it is that we got back. So what the last thing I'm going to do is go ahead and log this over to my Google Sheet. And if you do need to make a copy, you can just come into here. You can use Google Sheets, and then you can make a copy like I was showing you earlier. So for the node, I'm going to type in Google Sheet. And then I'm going to use append or update row in sheet. And basically this is just giving the okay for us to go ahead and write and update different nodes inside of the actual Google Sheet. So what I'm going to do is just put in log video, just for a nice naming convention for you guys. The documents I'm going to choose. So I'm going to choose the document it is that I'm using. This one is VEO3 Prompt Factory. And then this is going to be the sheet. I'm using sheet 1, I believe. Yeah, I'm using sheet 1 inside of here. So as you can see, it's going to give you all of the variables right inside of here and the values to send over. And the good thing is you can just use the schema to go ahead and update all this. Now, in this case scenario, you're not going to have to do column to match on. Really what you can do is just create a new row every single time, because we're not updating any rows in this case scenario. So ID, we don't even need ID inside of here. But for the title, so what I would do is I would come down to the idea. I'll put title inside of here. I'll drag prompt, and as you can see, it's just automatically formatting everything. And it's pulling in all the variables from previous nodes. And if you remember why it's so important to name the conventions, is because as you can see right here, it's pulling the node idea. And if I jump back out, you see this one's called idea. So now it's pulling it from idea, and then it's pulling the JSON from right there. Now production status, you just put in success, whatever it is that you really want. Now the last thing we need is to get the actual URL, because this is going to be the final output right here. So if we open up the get node, then we jump on down to the URLs, which is going to be right here. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to paste this inside of here, and then I'm going to execute the step. And as you can see, it is executing, and everything had just gotten sent over. So right here for 5, as you can see, it's success. And this is the final output. Pretty cool. Now you guys can go ahead and create $100,000 ads in about one click of a button without having to do anything. But again, guys, so this really just wraps up the entire thing. One important thing I do want you guys to know before you go ahead and jump off of this video is go ahead and join my free Skool community, because it'll just give you access to all of this, and you guys can get super creative, sell this to businesses for thousands of dollars. And the cost to go ahead and run this is about 50 cents per run, because all it's going to cost you inside of here is, well, the n8n, it costs you right around $29 to set up, but you will have to use a chat model, which is really actually like pennies on the dollar. It's probably like less than a cent per call. And the only other thing that costs money is going to be this API right here, which is calling key.ai. And you could use that for free, but each video would cost you, I think, like 30 some cents. So it really doesn't cost much to go ahead and create these videos. It really just comes down to your imagination at this point. And last thing is, if you want to go ahead and change what you want it to do, I could type in Rolex right here. And this is all it is that you're going to have to change to get different video types. So if I was to type this, I'll just roll it in. The new video that would be created is something around Rolexes. But again, it's going to use our followed structure prompt format, which is absolutely amazing for you. Now go ahead, join my free Skool community if you want to be able to download this with one click, or you just want all the prompts and all the links as well as my Google Sheet, and it'll be nice and easy for you guys. Anyway, I will see you on the next one. Peace.